Living in a bubble is used to describe the experience of the select athletes who make it to the Olympics and get to live in the Olympic Village during their days of competition. It's even more of a bubble at this year's Winter Olympics due to the Voldemort virus and Communist China's extreme restrictions, keeping them effectively locked up in their designated space. In some ways, it is a life of pampered privilege, but in others, a nightmare of restrictions and limitations enforced by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Living in a bubble can be used to describe the life of many middle and upper class Americans. Surrounded by safety and security won by our ancestors, and swaddled in the privilege and prosperity of modern conveniences ensured by our society, we have become accustomed to life inside our bubble. Unless we're thoughtful, we forget that many others live a nightmarish life of restrictions and limitations. Many by their own choosing, sin is a choice that enslaves us, but many by the family and culture they were born into, a culture that works to keep its victims locked inside. Living in a bubble can be used to describe many American Christians who share in the protection and prosperity of middle-class culture here in America. Unless we're thoughtful, we begin to think we deserve our privileges and prosperity because, well, we're American Christians. In other words, we blend Christ and country together in our self-identity. We can become flag-waving worshipers with an ungodly attachment to this world. Today, on Saturdays in the Psalms, let's look to Psalm 18 and see how David, who didn't live in a bubble, stripped his identity down to reality. I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my Savior. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. Notice how David refers to the Lord, which is Yahweh in Hebrew, as his strength, rock, fortress, deliverer, refuge, shield, horn of salvation, stronghold, worthy to be praised Savior. Psalm 18, verses 1 through 3. Spending a dozen years or so running for his life, as far from societal privilege and protection as can be imagined, made David learn to rely on God. Later in life, he had privilege and prosperity, and occasionally forgot how God was the source. But here in Psalm 18, we see why David was a man after God's own heart. He knew the source of life was God. Do we see God like that, like David did? Or are those phrases just words we occasionally mouth while singing on Sunday? Thank you for watching today's Saturdays in the Psalms edition of Morning Minutes in the Bible on An American Missionary. Until next time, this is James McClenny helping you have a great day.